Hey, lovers, how you going? Welcome to Metaphysical Mondays number 3. And today, what I want to talk to you about is how your defense mechanisms and you trying to control everything in your life can actually create a lot of physical strain and pain. So often, when we experience some form of childhood trauma, what can happen is we can, and it doesn't have to be from childhood, but this is often where our defense mechanisms are created. They were created in childhood. And what can happen is in a moment where you have felt rejected or abandoned, or you've asked for love and you haven't received it, you begin to build your defense systems and you begin to protect yourself. Okay. Now, if you're somebody who has created this defense mechanism from an early age, and we've all got defense mechanisms and we've all built walls around us to protect us. It's always about protection. So as an adult, what you would most likely do now is you will try to control the outcome of situations so that you know what's coming, okay? So that you're not left in the unknown, not knowing what the outcome is going to be. And this can create a lot of rigidity in your life. It can manifest as you being like a clean freak, having, like compulsive disorders and all these labels, but it can manifest in you being, everything has to be in its place. You have to know what the outcome's going to be. You have to know how this relationship's going to go. You have to know what's happening all the time, right? And if it's not, it can send you into a state of stress. And so that's why we become so rigid and why we want to control the outcomes of things. It's not coming often from a really negative place. It's just coming from wanting to be protected. And that's what defense mechanisms are. Defense mechanisms, we put them in place to protect us, just like we put our seatbelt on, right? It's a protective mechanism, right? It's the same with our emotions. It's the same with our walls that we put around our heart to protect our hearts after we've been heartbroken, okay? So it's really important that you understand that when you try to control things, what happens inside of your body when you do that is you go into tension. So you got to think of your body as being tense until you create the desired outcome, okay? So what can happen to your body when you tense up a lot like that is what you're doing is you're actually constraining your joints, you're constraining your organs, yeah? And that can create an imbalance of flow, not only energetically, but physically too. Like, think about what happens when you're tense and everything's tight and closed off. It can create, problems with digestion, constipation, and it actually creates a lot of physical pain because everything's not loose and free flowing. Okay, if you're someone who has a condition where it hurts when people hug you, or you wake up with physical pain, then this could be a really, really important message for you. Okay, so often when we try to control, we don't trust in the flow of life. We don't trust that we're going to be okay. We don't trust that everything's going to work out for us. We don't trust that everything is working out for us. Okay, so we try to control it. Now, when we do that, we actually create more chaos for ourselves because we're not going with the flow. Okay, and if you don't go with the flow and you don't trust that everything's going to work out for you, then there's a good chance that you don't trust yourself. Okay, now, because if you trusted yourself, you wouldn't need to create these outcomes. You wouldn't need to control your relationships and the situations that are before you because you would just be in the present moment. Yeah, so does that make sense to everyone? So when you're in the present moment and you trust in your own abilities and you trust that no matter what happens, no matter what comes your way, you're going to be okay. You're going to be able to handle it. You have the tools to handle it, right? When that happens, like when we don't trust ourselves, that's when we try to control things. So it's really important for you to look at how you can begin to trust yourself so you can stop trying to control the outcomes of things. All of your magic and your power is found in the present moment. Yeah, all of it's right here. So if you struggle to be in the present moment where life just unfolds before you and you do your daily things, like you go to work and you cook and you clean and you take care of yourself and you exercise and all these things, you do all your daily things that you need to do. But I'm talking about everything else. You allow everything else in your life to fall into place. So what is it that you need to look at to begin to remove some of these control, some of this defense mechanism that you have, right? Because when we're defensive, it's really hard to be receptive, as in open-hearted and receiving freely, right? When we defend, not only are we blocking others from loving us, from giving to us, from supporting us, from nurturing us, we're also stopping ourselves from loving, from giving, from expanding. And that creates a lot of isolation. It can create a lot of blocks in your energy field, okay? Because you're not just this physical body. You've got an emotional body, you've got a spiritual body, there's lots of different bodies that you embody, okay? So it's really important to start to think about this. Okay, ask yourself, how am I defensive? Yeah? How do I defend or how do I control? What outcomes do I try to control? Now, even trying to get someone to open up to you could be seen as a defense mechanism because you don't know who they are behind their wall or their armor. And so when you try to push to get someone to open up because you need to know what's behind there, that can be seen also as a form of control. Okay, so I want you to really think about it. You know, controlling an outcome could be when you meet someone and you want to get married and you want to have kids, and right, how are you trying to control the outcome rather than allowing it to unfold before you? So it's really important you start to go within and you start to look at these qualities that you have, if you have them, of course. How am I defensive? How do I try and control the outcomes? And sometimes we unconsciously try to control the outcomes, and they can be very small, right? And we may not even realize that we're doing it. So once you've done a little bit of soul searching and you've looked at those things, then the next thing to look at would be, when did I create this defense mechanism? Because it was actually a really intelligent thing that you did, creating this defense mechanism when you were little. Yeah. So again, if you have been rejected, let's say you yearned for your mother's love and she rejected you. She didn't have time for you. She just, she was busy with all the other kids and she didn't have time for you, let's say, okay? Now, if you'd felt rejected by her, you would have created a defense mechanism to protect yourself, okay? But where it's hindering you now, back then, what it did was it protected you in a really powerful way. Yeah? It protected your heart from feeling that rejection over and over again. But the thing is that if we, in that moment, if you created a belief that you were unlovable or that you weren't good enough or anything like that, that belief, it stays with you. It stays inside of you, okay? And then what happens is we recreate that pattern of pain over and over again in our lives to keep us stuck in and proving that belief right. So you've got to go deep into your belief systems and you've got to understand, why am I like this? What have I done in my life to keep myself in this pattern of trying to create outcomes, control outcomes, and protect myself? Like, what am I actually protecting myself from? So it's really important to unpack that. Now, when you start changing your energetic state, your emotional state, your mental state, your physical conditions will become more comfortable. You will not have as much physical pain. You'll be able to manage everything with greater ease. Okay. And the only reason I know how powerful this is because I used all of these techniques and tools that I am giving you. I use them on myself and on my other clients. Okay. And all of them have reported a dramatic improvement in their physical condition. So, unfortunately, I cannot go into specific conditions in great detail on social media. But if you are wanting to understand your physical condition better, or even just how your defense mechanisms are holding you back, or what you want to dive deep into what your belief systems are, you can book a private session with me. The link is in the description part of this video. If you did find this video beneficial, please like it and drop a little comment and share it with someone who could also benefit from the information in this video. And if there's something specific you'd want to hear me talk about, please drop it below and I'll do my best to create a video for you. So sending you lots of love, and I will be back here next Monday at 12 p.m. Melbourne, Australia time for another video on Metaphysical Mondays.